All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Today's Weather Tonight. Here, as always, I am your comedian slash meteorologist. That's what I call a meteorologist, Cloud Hudson. And I will be bringing you all of tonight's top 5 stories tonight. Yes, I am still going to bring you tonight's top 5 stories, even though there is a slew of attacks on our conscious awareness of the universe right now going on. I'll get into that soon. Kaylee, hi. I'm happy to see you. I'm here. I'm glad you're here. You made it through the storms in California. I hadn't talked to you since, I guess I saw you online, but I haven't seen you in the chat. So it's great to see you again. You've had over 200 aftershocks. I know. Did you feel the 7.0? I was thinking of you when I saw that where it landed. That's crazy. They really are coming after you next. We had the storms and then the earthquake. We are being attacked. I mean, you took the words right out of my mouth. Let's get into some of these stories tonight because I've got a lot to say. First of all, let's start with why I called this video Resisting Psychic Attacks, Resisting Psychic Warfare, because I believe that the story we're being told about the suspect charged in the fatal shooting of a CEO of major insurance group United Healthcare is potentially too good to be true. There's no way this guy just happened to go offline 6 months ago and start plotting a murder so well executed, only to be caught at a McDonald's in Pennsylvania, the state where he went to an Ivy League school. This man right here on screen that you're looking at right now, who just so happens to look like he could be the love child of Darren Criss and Dave Franco. You're telling me this man sparked a consolidation of class consciousness, the likes of which we have never seen? This guy did it. I'm not saying he's innocent, but I am implying that maybe he was groomed to commit this heinous act. You don't just go to a McDonald's with 4 fake IDs in your pocket and a gun and your manifesto, especially if you look like this. This guy, I'm not saying he's too hot to commit a crime, but I am saying he's probably too pretty to have thought of it himself. This guy, really? We couldn't find this guy for 4 days? We couldn't find him for 4 days. Was he fucking bitches for 4 days straight? I mean, most likely, yes, possibly. But I think that this guy didn't just conveniently have a PhD in computer science from Penn and just go rogue one day. I think that maybe he has been in a training program to take advantage of the astrological transits of the time, the current day, in order to, I keep forgetting you live in a place called Petrolia. That's just crazy. The name of that place is crazy. I can't say it, but you can say it. I don't know if he was framed, but he was definitely put up to this. I think that he's exactly the kind of guy that the 3-letter agencies would definitely love to have as the face of like centrist extremists. I've joked for a long time that I'm a moderate extremist, but I think this is actually what a moderate extremist is. An extremist about a very moderate position, that healthcare CEO bad. That's a moderate extremist. I think, oh, man, look at that. Look at him smizing. I think he's hot on purpose. I think that they picked a very cute boy to distract all the girls and the gays and the theys that were awakening to putting together. I think maybe women and gays have been doing too good of a job standing in solidarity with the working class internationally. Probably doing too good of a job showing international solidarity with oppressed peoples in other countries. We have probably been doing too good of a job because this guy was seems to be genetically engineered in a lab to distract us from the invasion of Syria. I think this guy is hot on purpose because it is going to take our sacral chakra energy away from organizing solidarity with people being bombed overseas. We need to focus on domestic violence, not domestic violence. We need to focus on the violence happening domestically, according to our government overlords. And this guy is just the latest attempt to, this is the pretty face, the pretty distraction. Also, I know it sounds vulgar, but nobody should be, yep, thank you. Thank you. Just in case my show reaches anyone who might be considering this, do not think of this guy when you are, how should we say, daydreaming. Do not, I repeat, do not channel your sexual energy into this one point. I believe that psychically you are giving your energy over to somebody when you daydream about them, and we cannot give a 3-letter agency operative all of our sexual energy at once. We need to resist, channel it inward, channel it towards yourself, channel it towards literally anyone but this one guy. It's yes, absolutely no daydreaming to Luigi. It is a trap. They are trying to harness our power. There is no reason for him to be that hot if not to try to harness our psychic energy. So I'm not joking. You're laughing. You're laughing. The CIA invented an assassin so hot that it would distract an entire generation, and you're laughing. This is no laughing matter, Kaylee. This is actually what I believe. Whoops. Okay, I said my opinions out loud just really, really clearly there. Whoops. They're trying to get tabs on everybody. They're trying to figure out where we are on the astral plane. They're trying to figure out what level of enlightenment we've reached by doing a little vibe check, by trying to trace back all the psychic tethers that lead to this guy. So if you tether psychically to him by daydreaming about him, then they're going to be able to find you and access your energy body, and then you're vulnerable. So as much as you would like to think about daydreaming about Luigi, please do not do that. Okay, back to the regularly scheduled programming. Volcanoes' explosive eruption sparks emergency evacuations. Canlaon volcano erupted in the central Philippines, sparking emergency evacuations. A column of ash over 10,000 feet high spewed out after a raft of volcanic earthquakes. People living within the 3.7-mile exclusion zone have been evacuated from their homes, and that's about 54,000 people could be affected by the eruption. The 8,000-foot volcano has been threatening to blow since last June and has now raised its alert level to the third highest stage. The agency called the incident an explosive eruption. Pyroclastic flow has been observed moving down the volcano's southeastern sections. Several volcanic earthquakes rocked the area in the lead up to the blast around 3 p.m. Canlaon City Mayor Jose Chubasco Cardenas has warned residents to prepare for forced evacuations as government offices shut and a curfew is implemented. A liquor ban has also been put in place. That's an interesting. Okay, no one get drunk. There's going to be a disaster. I can't imagine that happening. When the hurricane came, they shut down the ABC stores. Again, make you dependent upon a subject and make you dependent upon buying it, and then yank it away in times when you might need to lean on it most. As a great formula for annihilating any resilience that the people might have had. Make you subservient and think that you need a government to take care of you in times of disaster, rather than realizing that in times of disaster we come together and rise above it in spite of government presence instead of because of it. Okay, so that was a great video of the eruption. Let's watch that again. Oh, do you see look at the shock waves in the clouds? You can see it ripple outward. Do you see that? Like, it ripples outward from. That is such a cool illustration of the pressure being released there, horizontally and vertically. Really cool. And you see an overshooting top form there. Look, you see a cloud form as this smoke rises. Yeah, right there. Right there. Do you see the cirrus cloud form? So this is not cloud seeding. This is a natural phenomenon. Well, cloud seeding is a natural phenomenon. It's just that the seeds are put there unnaturally. This is the formation of a cloud right in front of your eyes. This is what happens when this is adiabatic lift. This is how a cloud forms by pushing an air parcel vertically, just like clouds form when they go over a mountain, when they lift up. This plume of volcanic ash has pushed the air that was right above the mountain all the way up to the level in the sky where it can condense and become a cloud. You see it kind of come out of thin air there. That is the way that all clouds form. They do seem to come out of thin air. It's just that there's a special name for clouds that form due to adiabatic lift near near explosive volcanic activity, but I'm forgetting what the name of it is. But that's a phenomenon that's well documented. What do I think about the earthquakes here in Petrolia in Alaska? Totally not normal. It's almost as if something is in the ocean. Oh, let's get to that actually. Let me go to Earthquake 3D, because I definitely saw the connection between Alaska and the California quakes. And now, yeah, the Alaska quakes have been spreading to, well, this is from yesterday, this 6.0. Let me see if I can get just today's quakes on there. Yeah. So in the past few days, let me go to large quakes only, 5 and over. Here is, let me get right over 5. No 4.9. Okay. If I take out the 4.9s, there's a lot less. Here is an illustration of all the 5 and up quakes that we've had. There's an even distribution circling the ring of fire. A lot in the Pacific Ocean, actually. There's a decent, almost pentagram shape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pointed shape here. Then we had of course, 7.0 and 5.8 aftershocks, including a lot of like 4 aftershocks if I go down to 4. Like if you go down, yeah, there's been a lot of 4 and 5 aftershocks. Then right on the ring boundary, I'm not exactly sure how Dutch calculates it, but Dutch Sense always says that you can look for the next quakes to come when you have these rings at maximum magnitude exaggeration, you can look for them to pop up at the edges of these rings. And that is what we see here with the 5.6 down here in El Salvador, and the swarm of 5s and 6s up here near Adak, Alaska. That is near a wildlife preserve, by the way, for anyone keeping track at home. Let's take a look at exactly where the 7.0 landed. I mean, near northern coast of California. The exact epicenter shows that it is right off the coast of the Humboldt Bay National Wildlife Refuge. Coincidence? The Alaska swarm also happened right next to a wildlife refuge, Adak Wildlife Refuge to be exact. So there are places that the government has deemed important enough to preserve the wildlife nature there that it shouldn't be plundered for extraction. And we should know by the prevalence of offshore and onshore drilling and fracking that the government doesn't really care about environmental preservation enough to get in the way of profits. So it does make one wonder why wildlife preservations have been set aside. I'm not saying that there's like Bigfoot and aliens out there fucking so loud that it causes an earthquake. Though there are plenty of YouTube channels that are going to tell you that. I do think that there is something interesting going on seismically and geologically there. So interesting that the government agencies in charge of maintaining wildlife refuges would deem it worthy of their time. There is probably something interesting enough going on there that they can invest resources in it. Did anyone else see a strange red-orange glow lightning up in the sky behind Moore Hill Saturday night around 10 p.m.? I thought it could be a control burn as I was driving down Lighthouse Road towards the beach. It was raining lightly at the time, and the sky behind Moore Hill was glowing. I saw a very bright white horizontal crescent shape with yellow on the bottom and the left side. On the left side edge of Moore Hill momentarily, and then it was gone. When I went up to Prosper to have a better look, Moore Hill was dark, but over the ocean to the southwest, behind some clouds, was that red-orange glow way off in the distance. not the sunset, not the moon, a fishing boat or a UFO. It's a mystery. ... Susan. That was the neighbor, one of the neighbors here. Oh, was this like on Nextdoor or something? That is really wild. There's an app for reporting strange sky observances. Let me see. Where it, oh, Enigma, is that it? I think, what is it? Is that the one that my friend told me to get, where people can like make their own reports of UFOs and atmospheric phenomena? I don't know. People will often, I live in an area that is near a, I live in an area with weird stuff. And I know that locally people do like voice recordings. We have a Google group email chat. Yeah. I think that there are some apps for reporting that stuff. So you should look it up on Enigma or UFO sightings or something. I don't know as much about UFOs as other alternative YouTube channels. I don't get as into the alien narrative as other people do, though I don't like discredit the observations of something weird, but I am more interested personally in the physics of atmospheric optics. If you saw something around 10 p.m. in the wintertime, it's unlikely that this was a sun-driven phenomenon. It could have been moon-driven. But if she said that it wasn't the moon and you saw the moon in a different part of the sky, then this also could have been weird inversion layers bending sky glow towards that area. And if there's no cities that have sky glow in that area, then it also could have been a possible red sprite or elves. There are such thing. It's lightning that is above the atmosphere. It's still in the atmosphere, but it's lightning that happens really between like the ionosphere and the cloud layer, rather than between the cloud layer and the surface of the earth. So it could have been sprites or elves or Steves. Did you know that there's a thing called a Steve? That is, okay. What does Steve stand for again? Steve lightning. Strong thermal emission velocity enhancement. So let me show you. Let me go to show you this one again real quick. Oh, please don't freeze on me. Okay, there we go. Oh, let me open this in the right window. There we go. Okay, Steve. It's one of my favorite atmospheric phenomenon names because it's just some guy named Steve. But it actually refers to a weird sky glow phenomenon in which a thermal wind or okay. It stands for, I just said it. Strong thermal emission velocity enhancement. So that means, if we break that down, it is a strong temperature emission that is driven rapid movement. So its optical effects came about differently than in auroras, but scientists couldn't say what was taking place. Steves appear farther south than aurora and over more populated areas than most aurora do. And unlike an aurora and its trademark greenish swirls, Steve produces a towering vertical purplish or green band. Okay, so it might not have been a Steve. Resembling a picket fence. This up here is what a Steve looks like. It's magnetic waves, winds of hot plasma, and showers of electrons in regions they normally never appear in. This is something that originates in the ionosphere. Plasma region falls into the auroral zone, the plasmasphere, and the boundary between them called the plasma pause. Waves, power, the Steve atmospheric glow and picket fence, while Steve atmospheric glow comes from heating without particle precipitation. So it's a unique form of aurora type lights that can happen where aurora borealis don't happen because it's not driven by the precipitation of charged particles. It's driven by internal thermal changes in the plasma pause, causing light waves to accelerate and release, or particles to release the light. What else? There's also sprites. Oh God, that's scary. Scary picture there. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Sprite lightning. These are the lightnings. This is what could have happened as well. This is a type of lightning that happens above the clouds. Giant red sprite. This happens in the stratosphere. Falling lightning in space. Let's see. What are lightning sprites? Electrical discharges high in the Earth's atmosphere associated with thunderstorms, but not in the same clouds. So this happens way above a thunderstorm. So if your neighbor saw this at a time when there could have been a thunderstorm anywhere near there, there could have been some glowing associated with that. Let's see if they've got any. Oh, here's some good illustration. These are elves, okay, up here. The sprite is the precipitation that looks like this. The elves are the big green, the big red glowing band. So it could have been an elf, not elf, but elv. Let's look up. What does elv stand for? Upper atmospheric lightning. Yes, I know that. Red elf caught on camera. Emission of light and very low frequency perturbations due to electromagnetic pulse sources. So this is quite literally what an EMP would look like. Electromagnetic pulse. That is literally EMP, what it stands for. Elves are an emission of light due to very low frequency energy EMPs. So your neighbor saw this when in relation to the earthquake? Alien elves. So what did she say? That was one of the neighbors here. She said it happened Saturday night around 10. When was the earthquake? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Earthquake happened on the 5th at 1:44 p.m. What day of the week was the 5th? The 5th was Thursday. So Thursday is when the earthquake happened. Saturday is when your neighbor possibly saw an elf. Let's take it back a few days to see what happened. What happened? Is this the 8th, 7th? I'm want to look back another day. Okay. I'm going to take the quake sizes down. Oh, I'm going back to Earthquake 3D right now, by the way. I'm looking throughout dates to see what kind of earthquake activity you guys had on the 7th. There was a 2.6 out in the area in question on the 7th. Let's see. I'm going to take the ring sizes down. That is when the threes started happening. We had a 3.7 that day. It is, I mean, we were still experiencing aftershocks in that time. I can't imagine. Interesting. Very interesting. There are lots of aftershocks happening in the area at the time when your neighbor saw those quakes, but not interesting. You would think that if the EMP that caused the elf, if that's what your neighbor saw, you would think that if that was happening, maybe it would be the cause of the earthquake, but perhaps the earthquake actually caused the elf itself. I mean, this is all stuff that scientists will scoff at. They will laugh at me for even trying to say that EMPs are at all associated with earthquakes. But I do think that it's plausible. Okay, 2 nights ago, she saw it 2 days after the earthquake. Looking through binoculars just a moment ago at 10:35 p.m. southeast, about 30 degrees, I see a multicolored star, as in the multicolors of the ones you might have seen on recent TV reports. That message just now sent by another neighbor. Interesting. Let me see. Let me see if I can pull up. Well, let me real quickly run through the other earthquakes today. You're doing a great job of distracting me. 5.3 up in the Adak, Alaska area today. We also had aftershocks of the 6 that was over here in Japan and in the top of the diamond-shaped plate. 4.8 and 3.9. Those were pretty deep ones. The 3.9 was deep at 385 kilometers. 4.5 at 79, 4.8 at 156. And then as we're getting closer to the Banda Sea, we had a 4.4 and 4.1. 4.5 and a 4.4. We had a 5.7 here on the mid-Indian Ocean ridge. That is, yeah, mid-Indian Ridge. That is where there are often lots of quakes in that ridge. Not often, but if there's quakes in that area, that's where they go. 4.9 and 4.3 here in Argentina and Chile. We had a 5.0 on the East Argentinian rise. Let's see. We also had a 4.7, another 4.7 down here in Honduras, really close to the part of El Salvador where we saw a larger quake the other day. We also have energy spreading through the United States from California, kind of rippling outward. Is this recent? What is the recent biggin? 5.8. I mean, there's been a 5.8 here in Utah just today, due east of Carson City. I bet this is near. Yep, it is right in the middle of a lot of bombing ranges and Air Force, Naval Air Station bombing. Naval Air Station bombing on the north and east of it, and then Carson City to the west, and then south of it, a national forest. So here in the desert mountains, we had a 5.8 at 0 kilometers depth. That is a surface 5.8, which is wild. So that's quite interesting as well. 3.6 and a 4.2 were also noted really close to it, as well as a 3.9 over in California at 2 kilometers depth. Then we add in our smaller quakes and we see them populating the area pretty well. All of that, there's a big stack of quakes there, where there was the one in Nevada there, as well as a stack of quakes near the geysers, some up in Montana and Idaho, as well as Utah. Then we also had some in West Texas, some marching across Oklahoma and into the New Madrid seismic zone, home of Dutch Sense himself, 2.2 at 8 kilometers depth. Do you think Dutch Sense is working for a 3-letter agency? I sometimes think that maybe he is. But other times, I think he's just a stoner who's gone too far into some of the centrist propaganda. Either way, he's got some interesting observations. Let's go to... I haven't heard of these multicolored lights. I'm an atmospheric observer, but I haven't really noticed that. Probably why Petrolia is being attacked, because he has my location, sadly. What? He's definitely a Fed. How does he have your location? That sucks. I think that Dutch Sense might be a psyop for getting people who are conscious observers of earthquake activity to go down the wrong pipelines of thought. I think some conspiracy theories are true, and oh no, not the seeds, not the sending seeds scam. Oh, never give your information to somebody, send you some seeds. That sucks. I'm sorry. I do think that it's that's proof enough for me. I do think that he's probably trying to lead people astray, down the wrong rabbit holes, because there is definitely a connection between not just one earthquake to a next, but from earthquakes to volcanism to the atmosphere, as we've talked about on this show a lot before. But he's trying to get people down the pipeline of hollow earth and some conspiracy theories that eventually lead you to some pretty racist conclusions. Yeah, so I don't like where his theories go. But I do appreciate his efforts when it comes to bringing awareness to earthquake 3D and the interconnected nature of earthquake activity on the planet. I think that's really cool. I learned a lot from him about the way that quakes move and the way that their energy dissipates and cycles throughout the tectonic plates. I just think that, maybe he has linked his observations to the wrong conspiracies. My conspiracy theory is that everything's connected. Whoa, hot take. Maybe when the earth moves, the water also moves. And maybe when the water moves, the sky moves. And maybe when the sky moves, when the earth moves, it's called earthquakes. When the water moves, it's called an ocean wave. When the air moves, it's called weather. And when electrons move, it's called our ionosphere and the interplanetary magnetic field. And when those magnetic fields move, it's called a planet moving. And when a planet moves, it's the physical embodiment of a greater universal archetype. Obviously, just makes sense. I'm interested to hear your feedback though on my theories there. How does he predict earthquake a week before they happen? I do think that he's a good observer of them. I don't think that they're being induced by the government, though that is what a lot of people think. I think that he is probably a good enough observer, noticing patterns in earthquake. He's been doing this for like 10 years, so I think he's noticed patterns in the earthquakes. I do think he's been compromised or otherwise allowed to continue broadcasting for reasons. I don't know. I don't want to accuse him of being a sellout. I just think that you got to take what he says with a grain of salt, because he's going to try to funnel you into thinking about the mud flood and there being a great reset, and eventually it's going to have you thinking in ways that dehumanize people rather than hold them accountable for their very human actions. I don't want to dehumanize anybody, especially oppressors. I think that we should recognize the humanity in people who are oppressing us so that we can hold them accountable. We need to hold ourselves accountable for the oppressor within us as well. Not enough leftists in the conspiracy theories out there. I'm trying to change that. Okay, let's talk about the weather. I mean, we've been talking about the weather, but let's talk about the atmospheric weather. Oh no, I clicked on, there's like a automatically installed app on the computer. Whoops. Okay, there we go. Let's talk about the rain weather that is going on down here in the deep south. We've got some severe weather happening in southern Alabama, flash flooding possible in southern Alabama, southwestern Georgia, and northern Florida panhandle. The Florida-Bama area, if you will. Localized flash flooding will be possible over southern blah, blah, blah. Rainfall rates of 1 to 2 inches per hour with localized totals of 2 to 4 inches may occur. An axis of training showers and embedded thunderstorms has resulted in a narrow axis of 2 to 4 inches of rain over southwestern Alabama since roughly 12Z, Radar imagery from 4Z shows, okay, so it goes that direction. The heavy rain was occurring near a low-level convergence axis, which was located just above the surface and extended from the northwest tip of the Florida Panhandle all the way across the southern Georgia-Alabama border. This was occurring within the right entrance region of a RAP forecast developing 130 knot jet max over northern Alabama, eastern Tennessee. So the right entrance area in the jet streak, so there's a jet stream that is the big loop of air that rings the earth at the upper levels. And within that, the speed varies. Where there is a local maximum of wind speed, that's called the jet streak. And vorticity is maximized. Vorticity is spinniness. Spinniness is greatest at the right entrance of the jet streak and the left exit of the jet streak. So the right entrance would be if you're looking as if you are Superman flying in the direction of the wind. On the right side of where you're entering the jet streak and the left side of where you're exiting the jet streak. That is where spinniness is maximized. There is maximum spinniness up here in this area where you see our frontal analysis is demonstrating a stationary front and a warm front right there. That is all happening up there. That's dragging air into the spinniness region. Down here, the air masses that are getting dragged up into this area, like a magnet, like sucked up, are interfering with the air mass that has been dragging along the Gulf Coast for the past few days that caused rain down there. And they're meeting up in this convergence band. And that is what's causing entrainment, training showers where the more it rains, the more it rains. That kind of thing. That's what training showers means. And since they are going in the direction that they're forming, the shape of the convergence zone is parallel to the direction that it's moving in. So it's just going in a long line, really deeply training, deeply soaking in those rains with embedded thunderstorms. So that is a setup for flash flooding. They're probably going to experience from this diagonal from Mobile up to, I'd say it's on its way to Byron, Georgia, or by way of Americus, or Macon, just south of Macon, probably. They're getting rain already, but the big deal of it is down here. You can see some rotation, actually, some horizontal rotation in the storm itself. You can see the Cheeto, I like to call it, like think of the swirly Cheetos. If you were turning one of those, almost like a double helix rotating itself. That's a nice, healthy convergence zone. That's probably going to stay a healthy storm for a while. Again, we're in the time of year where there's not as much atmospheric energy. It's literally colder, so there's not as much thermal energy to create severe weather. However, we did just have a big warm front kind of drag up some of this tropical air into the area. So with the warming trend that we saw set in yesterday and today, there is a little bit more available energy in the atmosphere to do something spicy with all this moisture. Okay. It is gonna also bring some rain into the Carolinas, Tennessee area from a weird direction. Let's see. For once, very little snow happening in the Great Lakes region and Northeast. I think they're finally getting a little bit of a break, although it is pretty damn cold up there and it's getting colder. There's not one but two waves of cold air coming in and a big wave right behind it. Also, off the coast of the Pacific Northwest, again, we've got an occluded front, a warm front, and a stationary front just setting up to be nasty little buggers. Let's look at our water vapor. See if that'll, oh no, it won't show us that far off. I've got to go to a website to see that satellite imagery. But you can see the water vapor getting dragged at the lower levels into this area. You can really see the convergence of the two air masses right there. This is part of the atmospheric river or that's coming over the mountains in Mexico and into the Gulf of Mexico and converging with this air mass that's trying to swoop down here. They're both going towards the east and smushing each other a little bit, and that's what's creating all these storms. Also very warm and moist in the south today, warm and moist for December. Okay. What else was I going to talk about? Oh, yeah. Let's go to look at our observations for the day. Make this a little smaller. Boop. Boop, 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 boop. That's smaller in the corner. Make this bigger. I should make these two different scenes, but I haven't done that yet. Okay. Oh, I forgot to read some of our other headlines. Whatever. I'm easily distracted today. Let's take a look at what were our observed temperatures. Yeah, so really warm temperatures down here. Honestly, a decent amount of thermal energy to get some severe storms popping off. And then really cold setting in the mountainous regions over here, the mountain time states. Let's look at 24-hour temperature change. What did we actually see today? Yeah, a big warm up throughout much of the south and a bit of a cool down for the rest of the country. That's probably going to continue. The cool down is going to set in where we just had this warm up. So the drop in temperatures is going to seem even more drastic as we go from Tuesday to Wednesday when temperatures are supposed to really cool down. Let's finish our headlines here for a second. Killer whales bring back wearing salmon hats, but it's not for fashion. This is a 37-year-old trend. Stop trying to make dead salmon hats happen. It's probably not a thing. Off the Puget Sound in Washington, killer whales with dead salmon atop their heads have been spotted. Back in vogue from the 80s. They don't know the reason yet, but it could be saving food for later or to share with other orcas. So they're either very savvy preppers, the orcas are prepping, or they are just really generous, doing some direct action and mutual aid with sharing their salmon with the community. Devil's Hole. Oh, this was a really cool story. Devil's Hole in Death Valley sees rare waves after earthquake. This is a hole in the middle of the fucking desert in Death Valley where water collects, and it actually has had waves inside of it back on Thursday when the big 7.0 earthquake happened. You can see it right here. This is the video. You can see waves actually occurring inside of Devil's Hole because of the ripple effect of the tectonic movement. So the bowl is shaking. Really cool to see it. This is 500 miles to the south. Yeah. 500 miles south of where the 7.0 is, this bowl full of jelly of water felt the effects of the quake. So that's really cool. Let's see what else. Oh, Northern Lights set to dazzle this week after X-class solar flare triggers radio blackouts. That happened yesterday. There's an example of the Northern Lights. So yesterday on the 8th, we had an X 2.2 that also had a coronal mass ejection associated with it. That's a picture of the X flare. We don't have SDO imagery right now. The sun had poor aim, and it's going to be glancing to the west of us. The fast solar wind streams might deflect the structure even further to the west, only mild impacts by midday December 11th, according to space weather woman Tamitha Scove. But they do increase the possibility of seeing aurora, so it's still not out of the question. Let's see. Now let's take a look at our Schumann resonances. All right. Extra low frequency sonogram. Yeah, the Schumann resonances have decently calmed down. Looking a lot calmer than we did the past few days when there was that big 7 earthquake and when there was all of that energy being transmitted down to Earth from the sun. Let's look at that energy from the sun actually right now. What happened today? Max X-ray flux of the past 2 hours is an M6.6. Interesting. So yesterday we had that X flare, and just recently, oh my God, like very recently, like in the past 20 minutes while I was broadcasting, we got this M6.26. So synchronicities with the sun. We're live and the sun is live too. The Solar Dynamics Observatory is still out due to a water cooling line failure. It seemed to be steadily climbing up there too, and I got pretty close to an X flare as well. So that's decent. Let's see what that came from. What region did that come from? Does it show? It doesn't show what region that might have come from yet. But that's pretty cool considering we had an X flare yesterday. That was the wrong thing. CMEs. How many CMEs do we have today? Not many CMEs today. Just one, honestly, and that wasn't even much. But the flares have been pretty awesome. Yeah, nothing to speak of. Auroral activity. Let's take a look at our radio. KP index of 2+. Hemispheric power is decently up. We were pretty close to a storm, according to our storm time index, but not really reaching the threshold there. We got a decently southward tilt to the magnetic interplanetary magnetic field. So if there was something to couple with the magnetic field of the Earth, it would couple pretty well. Solar wind is a little bit elevated, but not too high. Field strength is high, but nothing super duper scary. We're at a waxing gibbous phase moon. We experienced radio blackout. Oh, we did reach a KP4 just after midnight last night. So we did reach active conditions. We had a R1 and R2 radio blackouts in progress today, which I feel like I can always tell when there's a radio blackout when my key fob for my car doesn't work. So yeah, overnight, we reached a KP index of 4 and then slowly fell since then. Let's look at our planetary weather now. Guys, it was a struggle for me to make it onto the computer today. It was a lot of energy to overcome the psychic warfare of such a baddie being released. I'm still dwelling on the CEO shooter and how hot he is. It's crazy. It's just stupid how hot they made that guy. It's ridiculous. It should be illegal, honestly. Not the killing CEOs, that should be legalized and actually encouraged, but the being that hot, that's stupid. That shouldn't be legal. Okay, the planetary weather. We've got the moon in Aries at 10 degrees. That is not making too many aspects other than like roughly it's actually got a pretty decent trine to Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius right now. And that has a trine to Mars retrograde in Leo. So we've got the moon, Mars, and Mercury forming a grand fire trine. So we are feeling spicy today. We've also got Venus separating from Pluto, but applying to an opposition with Mars and Leo. So Venus-Mars opposition is a lot of sexual tension, in my opinion. Makes a lot of sense for what's going on in our pop culture right now. Saturn, Jupiter, and the Sun are also in a T-square, separating from a T-square. And that is giving us both expansion and contraction at the same time, which I interpret as difluence or confluence and difluence at the same time tends to warp the shape of an air mass. So it's like stretching and squishing and pulling. This is ego getting totally warped around and manipulated into a brand new thing. And moon in Aries is very ego centric. It's a Mars day. We started this broadcast in a Mars hour and it's now a sun hour. Let's go back to camera only and do a little bit of vibe weather. Oh, I keep clicking on shit I don't mean to click on. I'm sorry if that buffers it. Okay. Let's do a little gratitude and compassion. All right. You can see the thing in the sky now. I need you to take pictures right now. I need you to take video and pictures of the thing you're seeing in the sky, Kaylee. If you see the fucking thing in the sky right now, then you need to be sending me videos immediately. If you have to stop watching the stream, that's okay. You have a green laser, you are just shining at it. That is great. Send it Morse code signals saying sup. Say SUP in Morse code at it. Not SOS. Just say sup. Okay. because that's a great thing to say to a UFO is what's up, because you're literally asking it what it is by saying what is up, because you're acknowledging that it's up and you're asking about it. Okay, vibe check. Let's start with our affirmations. I'm going to shuffle and cut. So whoever wants to be the winner, please jump out at me when we cut this crease. I look for positive aspects in every experience. And it's a lady standing under a lemon tree. Says, within every particle of the universe is that which is wanted and the lack of it. By looking for the positive aspects of whatever you are giving your attention to, you maintain your connection to well-being. That's a very positive interpretation. I like that. Let's quickly look for the, yes, send me a picture now. Do I have my phone? Where's my phone? Here. Okay, that's crazy. Whoa. It looks very weird. I can't really tell what it is, but that looks freaky. Can you guys see this? It's such a good, yeah, that's so accurate. It wouldn't be better for me to share my screen or anything. It's like a 4-pointed star, looks bluish. That's wild. I'll look into it. Next vibe. What goes with I look for the positive aspects in every experience? Hey, maybe it's a friend. Maybe it just wants to be your friend. Maybe it's like Rick and Morty and it wants us to play a song for it. Show me what you got. You know. Get swifty. Take off your pants and panties. Shit on the floor. Get swifty in here. This is the card that popped out with that is the moon in reverse. The moon is a very mysterious night sky object. The moon card shows a fox, a dog, and a scorpion. The scorpion's coming out of the water, making its way onto land, and the fox and the dog are howling at the moon. There's also, I think, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 moonbeams dropping. There's a winding path into the hills, and there's 2 pillars on either side. And this represents everything that is like the feminine aspect of the unknown, the intuitive, mystical, the hidden, the occulted, the things that the high priestess works with. It's the lunar cycles, the monthly cycles, the inward mystery. Honestly, this looks like having to look within to find the positive aspects of an experience. The only way to find the positive in an experience is searching for the mysterious part inside of yourself that makes it a good thing. That it's really hard sometimes. Let's look for moon reversed, actually. Let's see some guidance on the moon reversed. Moon in reverse is release of fear, repressed emotion, inner confusion. So upright is illusion, fear, anxiety, that kind of shit. Reversed, you've been dealing with illusion, fear, and anxiety, and now the negative influences of these energies are subsiding. You're working through your fears and anxieties, understanding the impact they have on your life and how you can be free from such limiting beliefs. This is truly a liberating and transformational experience. So just the way that you liberate yourself from limiting beliefs and anxieties and fears is by looking at the positive aspects of every experience. You don't get away from experiencing pain by denying that you're experiencing pain. You get away from it by turning it into pleasure. You got to stare right at the thing in order to, you got to focus on it really hard to get it to not hurt anymore. It's crazy what we can transmute into delightful pleasure when we stare it right in the face. I'm not afraid of calling out illusion. I'm not afraid of staring false structures in the face and calling them out. And I look in the positive aspects of that. I think it's a blessing to be able to express myself and say what I'm really feeling and thinking about the illusions in our society. This is giving the Saturn stationing direct in Pisces, co-present with Neptune direct in Pisces, which is happening right now. Let's get messages from the liminal space as our third messenger, our third card messenger. Again, we're going to do a shuffle and cut and pick for whoever goes with the moon reversed, positive in every aspects of every experience. Padded room. I don't think I've drawn this one before. It says padded room, and it's got a illustration of like a desert island. Can you see this? Like, what does this mean? That is very curious. I've never seen this card before. Padded room. Due to unforeseen glitches or excessive software updates, the software has overwhelmed the hardware. Take a break to avoid overheating or worse, obsolescence. Give your hardware a break. Your software's been working way too hard. Your hardware is going to break if your software works any harder. I think that means that we will eventually become physically sick if we are spiritually sick. So let's get right with God. Okay. I think that's about it. Let's drop the illusions, drop the act, and look for the positives. Don't try to dwell on the negatives of a situation. Just look at the positives. I'm grateful for, how hot the shooter is, because it makes me less obsessed with the innocent people in my life who become objects of my obsessive compulsive disorder. Makes me less obsessed with real live people and helps me obsess over somebody who isn't at risk of me being obsessed with them. It's not a real threat to him if I'm obsessive. So I like that better than obsessing over people in real life who could actually get hurt or annoyed or damaged by my obsessions. So that's pretty cool. I think that is where I'm going to end it for now. The cards just said, bitch, you're crazy. look on the bright side. So that's where I'm going to leave it. Love you guys very much. Have a great evening. Bye. Kaylee, don't get abducted by the aliens.